The planet of Zelaris glimmered under twin suns, casting soft golden light across towering crystalline cities. The light danced on the spires of the capital, Lysara's citadel, creating a spectacle that no other world could match. Yet, for all its beauty, there was a heavy sorrow that filled the heart of the alien queen who ruled there. Queen Lysara, tall and graceful, with deep violet eyes that shimmered with psychic energy, sat alone in her private chamber. The room, lined with translucent crystal walls, overlooked the gardens below, glowing with soft, bioluminescent plants. But even the brilliance of the gardens could not touch her heart tonight. Her daughter, Princess Aelira, had been gone for years, taken by a hostile species from the outer galaxies. Every day since that fateful loss, Lysara had felt the void grow larger, stretching through every corner of her life. The Xylar were a proud and intelligent species, known for their psychic powers and elegant civilization. But grief, even in a species as strong as theirs, could be consuming. Lysara's people whispered of her sorrow in hushed tones. The citizens of Xylaris, while loyal and devoted, were unsettled. A ruler's grief could affect not only the heart of a nation, but the strength of its defenses. And there were enemies watching. Lysara's advisors, all loyal but cautious, waited outside the chamber. They dared not enter uninvited, for they knew the queen's mood was as changeable as the crystal towers in the sun's light. Even High Counselor Voren, her oldest and wisest advisor, respected the boundaries of her grief. "The queen is awake, but silent," Voren whispered to the others. "Let us hope she is merely reflecting and not lost entirely to sorrow." In the chamber, Lysara closed her eyes and reached out with her mind, searching for even the faintest trace of her daughter's presence. The psychic link that all Xylar shared with their kin was powerful, but Aelira had been taken far beyond Xylaris, into regions where psychic signals were weak. She felt only emptiness. A soft chime echoed through the chamber, signaling an incoming communication. Lysara rose, her movements fluid and regal. She approached the crystal console, letting her psychic energy align with the device. Images shimmered into view, showing a scout ship hovering at the edge of Xylar space. Lysara's heart skipped. A scout ship? At this hour? And yet, the markings were unfamiliar. Not Xylar, and not of the usual suspicious fleets that patrolled the edges of their territory. She leaned closer. The signal carried a name, one that made her chest tighten with hope and fear. "Human!" The scout's voice crackled, mechanical yet clear. Humans. Visitors from the Milky Way, known to the Xylar only through rare encounters and legends. They were strange creatures, fragile in body compared to Xylar, yet persistent, cunning, and brave beyond imagination. The last recorded human contact had ended in tension, but nothing hostile. And now, the scout was coming closer. Lysara felt a spark she had not felt in years. Hope. Her violet eyes widened as she studied the approaching vessel. Something told her that this human presence was different. Something told her it could be her daughter. "Your Majesty," Voren said gently, stepping inside. "The scout claims there is news of Aelira." Lysara's heart pounded. Her hand trembled slightly as she gestured for him to continue. "They request an audience, and they say they carry someone in their care. They claim she is your daughter." Lysara's mind raced. Could it be true? After all these years of despair, of searching through psychic visions and distant intelligence reports, after the sleepless nights and endless prayers, could Aelira really be alive? Tears welled in her eyes, but she did not let them fall. Not yet. The queen's composure was her shield, and her people would see only strength. She turned to Voren. "Prepare the ceremonial landing grounds," she said, her voice steady, though her heart quivered. We will receive this human, and we will see the truth with our own eyes. The preparations were swift. The city's crystalline towers reflected the golden light of the setting suns as a vast landing area was cleared. Citizens gathered, their curiosity and caution mixed. Whispers filled the air, and children peeked between the crystal spires. For the first time in years, hope stirred in the hearts of the Xylar. Lysara walked slowly through the palace gardens, her long robes brushing against the glowing plants. Every movement was deliberate, regal, and yet her mind raced with memories of Elira, her daughter's laughter, her curiosity, her cleverness. The memories brought both joy and pain. Finally, the scout ship descended. It was sleek, fast, and unlike any Xylar vessel. Humans had a design unlike any Xylar had ever seen, functional, streamlined, and resilient. The landing bay hummed with energy as the ship's engines touched the ground and powered down. The hatch opened. At first, only shadows were visible, and the Xylar people held their collective breath. Then, a figure appeared, tall, armored, and moving with confident precision. A human warrior, Kalen by name, stepped forward. His uniform was marked with insignia unfamiliar to the Xylar, but his posture radiated respect and honor. He bowed slightly to the queen, a gesture of respect and deference. "Queen Lysara," he said, his voice firm yet gentle. "I am Commander Kalen of the human fleet. I bring someone who belongs to you. Your daughter, Princess Elira." Gasps spread through the gathered crowd. Lysara's knees weakened, but she remained standing. Her voice, though soft, carried the weight of centuries of royal command. "Show her to me," she whispered. Kalen nodded. From the ship, he carefully carried a figure in a stasis field. The glowing energy surrounding the young Xylar was soft, like a cocoon of light. Lysara recognized her instantly. Even after years of absence, Elira's features were unmistakable. Her violet eyes, now closed in suspended animation, her delicate hands, and the slight curve of her smile. The queen's psychic energy surged. She reached out mentally, feeling the faint echo of her daughter's presence. It was fragile but unmistakable. Her heart soared and tears slipped down her cheeks. "My daughter, my Elira," Lysara whispered, her voice breaking. Kalen carefully lowered the stasis field, and the glowing cocoon dissipated. Elira's eyes fluttered open. She looked around, confused, weak, but alive. Recognition sparked immediately in her gaze as it met her mother's. "Mother." Elira's voice was soft, trembling but filled with relief. Lysara rushed forward, embracing her daughter. The crowd watched silently, awed by the reunion. The queen's psychic energy enveloped her daughter, wrapping her in warmth and comfort. Years of suffering, fear, and despair melted away in that single moment. "You are safe now," Lysara whispered, holding Elira tightly. "I feared I had lost you forever." Elira's small hands touched her mother's face. "I was never alone," she said quietly. "A human saved me. Commander Kalen." Kalen stepped forward humbly. "It was my duty and honor, Princess. I could not let anyone harm you further." Lysara looked at the human, a mixture of gratitude and wonder in her eyes. "You risked much to return her to us." Kalen inclined his head. "The courage of one species is nothing compared to the strength of another when hearts unite. I only acted as guided by what is right." As the twin suns dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the crystalline city, a sense of hope settled over Xylaris. The alien queen, once lost in grief, now stood with her daughter in her arms. And while the mysteries of Elira's captivity and the forces that had taken her remained for the first time in years, there was a promise of renewal. The citizens of Xylaris whispered excitedly, the first smiles appearing in years. The humans, though strangers, had proven themselves honorable, and Lysara knew that together they could face whatever challenges lay ahead. The Queen's sorrow was not gone. It could never fully disappear, but it was replaced now with determination. Her daughter had returned, and with her return came the hope of a brighter future, one that might even reach beyond the stars. The city of Xylaris was alive with movement and energy. Crystalline spires glowed softly in the morning light as workers and citizens bustled through the streets, preparing for the Queen's announcement. Yet in the heart of the palace, a different kind of tension filled the air. Queen Lysara and her daughter Elira were together at last, but there were questions that needed answers, questions about how Elira had survived, who had taken her, and what dangers still lurked in the stars. At the center of it all stood Commander Kalen, the human warrior who had risked everything to bring Elira home. Kalen was tall and broad-shouldered, with a calm, confident presence. His uniform, sleek and practical, bore the marks of many battles, but his eyes carried the warmth of someone who valued life above victory. He had met strange species before, but nothing had prepared him for the psychic energy and beauty of Xylaris. Kalen had been granted a private audience with Lysara in the palace council chamber, a vast hall with walls made of shimmering crystal. The chamber's high ceilings reflected light like 1,000 stars, and at the center, a circular table sat ready for the Queen and her advisors. Lysara's eyes studied him carefully. "Commander Kalen," she said softly, "you have risked much to return my daughter, but why? Why humans? Why now?" Kalen bowed respectfully. "Your Majesty, the galaxy is vast and dangers are many. I have seen cruelty that few could endure. When we learned of your daughter's captivity, I could not stand by. I could not allow harm to come to her. Humans believe in doing what is right, even when it is dangerous." Lysara studied him for a long moment. The human's words carried honesty, courage, and an unusual humility. She could feel it, not with her eyes, but with her psychic senses. There was truth in his heart. "You have my gratitude," she said finally. "But the world beyond Xylaris is dangerous. How did you find her?" Kalen took a deep breath. "We tracked the vessel through multiple systems. The abductors moved carefully, hiding in uncharted regions. It took months of planning and coordination, but we discovered where they were holding her. The species was conducting experiments on Xylar genetics. They wanted to study your daughter's psychic abilities. They did not understand the Xylar heart, the strength that comes from family, loyalty, and hope." Lysara's violet eyes narrowed. Rage and sorrow mingled in her heart. "They dared harm my daughter for curiosity." "They did not succeed," Kalen replied firmly. "She remained strong, even when weakened. And she is alive because of her courage and our team's determination. But they will return if they sense weakness. That is why I came immediately." Meanwhile, in the palace gardens, Elira was awakening fully from stasis. The soft glow of bioluminescent plants surrounded her, and the familiar psychic energy of her home world flowed around her like a gentle river. She stretched carefully, testing her strength, feeling the years of captivity fade away slowly. "My mother," she whispered, turning toward the towering figure of Lysara. "I thought I would never see you again." Lysara knelt beside her daughter, holding her hands. "You are here now. That is what matters. We will face whatever comes next together." Elira nodded, but her thoughts turned to Kalen, the human warrior who had risked everything. She wanted to see him, to thank him, to understand the courage that had saved her. Kalen appeared at the edge of the garden. His presence was calm, respectful, and yet commanding. Elira's eyes met his. "You saved me," she said softly. Kalen shook his head. "You saved yourself. I only helped you reach home. The strength you carried all those years. It is remarkable. Elira smiled faintly. I want to learn from you. Humans, you are different from anyone I've met. You take risks, yet you think of others first. I want to understand that courage. Kalen's eyes softened. Courage is simple. It is choosing to act even when fear is present, and it grows stronger when you protect someone else. Back in the council chamber, discussions had turned serious. Lysara's advisors were uneasy. They knew the abductors were powerful, cunning, and now aware that humans could intervene in Xylar affairs. High Counselor Vorin spoke first. Your Majesty, we cannot ignore the threat. The abductors may return to claim the princess for further study. Our defenses alone may not be enough. Lysara nodded. That is why we must combine forces. Humans have technology that complements our psychic powers. Kalen, what do you propose? Kalen laid out a plan with precision. We must create a network of defense across Xylaris orbit. Human ships can intercept intruders, while Xylar forces use psychic fields to shield the planet and disrupt enemy sensors. Together, we can make it impossible for them to succeed. Lysara's eyes gleamed. And Elira? She will help with strategy and morale, Kalen replied. Her insight is invaluable. She knows the enemy, their methods, and the weaknesses we can exploit. The queen looked at her daughter, and Elira met her gaze with determination. I will fight with you, she said softly, yet with strength. I have learned from those who tried to break me. Now I will help protect my people. Over the next days, humans and Xylars worked side by side. Kalen's crew adapted quickly to Xylar technology, learning to navigate psychic energy fields and crystal-based systems. The Xylar scientists, initially wary of the humans, were impressed by their ingenuity and careful planning. In the training halls, Elira practiced daily with Kalen and his soldiers. Though she was weakened, she regained strength quickly, her psychic abilities enhanced by her determination to protect her home. Kalen taught her tactical thinking, human strategies that combined with her psychic skills. The bond between human and Xylar grew stronger, built on trust and mutual respect. One evening, as the twin suns set and the sky turned violet, Kalen and Elira walked in the palace gardens. A gentle breeze stirred the glowing plants, and the city below shimmered like a sea of stars. You have changed the future, Elira said quietly. Your bravery has given my people hope again. And me. Kalen smiled faintly. Hope is not just my gift. It is in your heart, in your mother's love, in your people's courage. I only reminded everyone of it. Elira nodded. Humans, you are strange, yet admirable. You risk your lives for others without expecting reward. That is different from anyone I've met. Kalen looked at her seriously. Different does not mean weak. It means we see strength where others may overlook it. That is the power of humanity. But even as hope grew, shadows lingered. Scouts reported unusual activity near the outer edge of Xylar space. Ships moving fast, careful to avoid detection. Kalen and Lysara's intelligence teams confirmed the worst. The abductors were returning. They were not finished, and they would strike at the heart of Xylaris if given the chance. Lysara summoned her advisors and Kalen to a war council. The room was tense, every mind focused on strategy and defense. We must be ready, Lysara said, her voice steady and commanding. Our people are weak from years of mourning, but together, humans and Xylars, we can show the galaxy the strength of Xylaris. We will not be afraid, we will not falter, and we will protect Elira, for she is the future of our people. Kalen stepped forward. Our forces are ready. Our plan combines technology and psychic power. We can anticipate the enemy, disrupt their systems, and defend every approach. But we must also act decisively. If they reach our world, we will need courage, strategy, and unity. Elira raised her head. I will stand with you, Mother, and with the humans. I will fight to protect our people and our home. We will show them that Xylaris is not weak. A hush fell over the room as every person absorbed her words. There was pride, determination, and renewed strength. The queen, standing tall, felt a spark she had not felt in years. Hope. The alliance between human and Xylar had been forged in trust, courage, and the shared goal of protecting what mattered most. But the battle to come would test them in ways none of them could yet imagine. As night fell over Xylaris, twin moons casting silver light on the crystalline city, the human warrior and the alien princess stood together. The quiet moment of unity was brief, for the shadows in space were moving closer, carrying the memory of years of captivity and the promise of a test that would demand every ounce of courage from humans and Xylars alike. The story of return, hope, and preparation was only beginning. The palace of Lysara glowed under the light of Xylaris's twin suns, casting long crystalline shadows across the city. Life had slowly returned to the streets, and citizens looked to their queen and her daughter for guidance. But while Elira's return had sparked hope, it also brought uncertainty. Questions of the past and threats of the future filled every mind in the palace, and the calm before the storm was fragile. Princess Elira had been recovering quickly, her strength returning under careful attention from Xylar medics and guidance from Commander Kalen. The years of captivity had left her body weakened, but her spirit burned brightly, unbroken by the cruelty she had endured. She was eager to learn, to understand, and to aid in the defense of her people. Lysara had called for a private meeting in the palace gardens, a place where bioluminescent plants glowed softly and psychic energy hummed in the air. The queen and her daughter stood together, side by side, while Kalen waited respectfully nearby. "My daughter," Lysara said, her voice soft yet firm, "you have returned. But the world beyond our city is dangerous. We cannot allow complacency to cloud our vigilance. Tell me everything you remember about your captors." Elira's eyes darkened, her memories of those long years of captivity returning in fragments. "They were precise," she began. "Organized. They studied me constantly, using devices to measure my psychic abilities. They wanted knowledge, not just control. I endured, but I learned. I saw their patterns, their weaknesses. They underestimate loyalty, compassion, and courage." Kalen nodded, impressed. "Your insights are invaluable, Princess. That knowledge will give us an edge in any future encounter. But we must also consider strategy, technology, and psychic power together. Your people's abilities can disrupt their systems before they even reach us." Lysara's violet eyes glimmered with determination. "Then we shall prepare. Every soldier, every citizen able to fight will take part. Our planet will not be taken lightly, and we will do it together, with humans and Xylars united." In the palace war room, holographic star maps flickered and rotated above a circular table. Xylar generals and scientists worked alongside Kalen and his crew. Human tactics and Xylar psychic strategies were discussed and refined. Kalen pointed to the map. "The abductor's fleet is approaching from the northern edge of Xylar space. They travel in stealth, avoiding sensors. If we position our ships here and here," he indicated 2 points near Xylaris's orbit, "we can force them into a narrow path. Our defenses will be strongest there, and your psychic shields can amplify our coverage." Elira added, "Their command patterns are predictable. I observed their leaders relying on fear to control their troops. If we disrupt their leadership, their soldiers will hesitate, giving us the advantage." High Counselor Vorin raised an eyebrow. "Princess, your strength is remarkable, yet the fleet is vast. How can we be certain this strategy will succeed?" Elira's gaze met her mother's, and she smiled faintly. "It will succeed because we are united. Humans and Xylars together. Courage and strategy. That is stronger than fear or cruelty. Lysara placed a hand on her daughter's shoulder. You have grown in ways I could not imagine. I am proud, and we will succeed because our hearts are not bound by fear. Kaelin watched silently, admiring the bond between mother and daughter. There was a strength here, ancient and enduring, that no enemy could calculate. It was the power of family, courage, and hope. As the preparations continued, Elira insisted on visiting her childhood training grounds. The tall crystalline towers and gardens were familiar, yet changed. The plants she had once played among were now larger, glowing brighter, and the city hummed with life rather than grief. She moved carefully at first, testing her body. Kaelin walked beside her, observing quietly. You are stronger than you think, he said. Years of captivity did not break you. That strength will inspire your people. Elira nodded, her eyes scanning the horizon. I learned many things while away, she said quietly. Not just about my captors, but about myself. Courage, patience, observation, and loyalty. I will use everything I learned to protect our world. A soft psychic pulse rippled through the air, an instinctive warning from Elira's mind. Kaelin noticed her sudden alertness. What is it? He asked. They are near, she said. Not yet in our system, but their presence is close. I feel it. They are returning. The announcement came from palace sensors. A fleet of alien vessels had been detected at the edge of Xylar space. They were moving fast, calculated, and silent. The abductors had returned, more organized than before, likely seeking revenge or to reclaim their prize. Lysara convened an emergency council. Our enemies are near, she declared. We will not let fear control us. We fight, not just for our lives, but for our children, our people, and the hope of Xylaris. Humans, stand with us. Together, we are unstoppable. Kaelin addressed the council. Our plan must be precise. Human ships will intercept and disrupt the fleet before it reaches the planet. Xylar forces will use psychic fields to shield civilians and disrupt enemy sensors. Princess Elira will coordinate strategy and morale. Every second counts. The generals nodded. Plans were made, shields calibrated, and ships readied. Even citizens capable of fighting were trained to assist. The city was alive with preparation, determination, and courage. In the quiet moments before battle, Kaelin found Elira in the palace gardens. The soft glow of the bioluminescent plants cast shadows across her face, but her eyes were bright, resolute. You are ready, he said. Your courage will guide them, as your strength guides me. Elira nodded. I am ready. I will not let fear control me. My mother, my people, they need me. And you have shown me that bravery is not the absence of fear, but the choice to act despite it. Kaelin smiled faintly. Then let us face this together. Humans and Xylars united. Our strength lies in unity. As Xylar's defensive fleet moved into position, the alien abductors approached silently, confident in their speed and stealth. But they were not prepared for the coordination of human technology and Xylar psychic power. Energy fields shimmered around the planet, blocking sensors and deflecting minor attacks. Human ships patrolled the narrow corridor, waiting for the enemy to enter the trap. Elira's psychic energy pulsed through the control rooms, coordinating defenses with precision. Every signal from the humans, every shield from the Xylars, moved as one. Her heart, her courage, and her memories of captivity guided every action. Kaelin watched the approaching fleet, his hand resting on the console. This is where courage and strategy meet. We will not fail. Lysara, observing from the palace, felt her daughter's strength resonate with her own. We are not powerless, she whispered. We are united, and we will protect our world. The first skirmish began at the edge of Xylar space. Alien ships moved into the narrow corridor, expecting an easy path to the planet. Instead, human ships blocked their advance, firing precise energy beams that disrupted engines and sensors. Xylar psychic shields pulsed, confusing the enemy and scattering their formations. Elira monitored the battle, giving guidance and adjusting strategies. Her knowledge of the enemy's tactics allowed human and Xylar forces to anticipate attacks and counter with efficiency. Each move, each adjustment, was a combination of human ingenuity and Xylar psychic precision. The abductors realized they had underestimated Xylaris. Their formations broke, their confidence shaken, yet they pressed forward, determined to reclaim what they had lost. The tension rose, and the battle would soon reach a critical point. In a quiet moment amidst the preparations, Lysara approached her daughter. "Elira, no matter what happens, remember this. Your courage, your strength, and your heart define you. These enemies may try to harm us, but they cannot take our hope." Elira nodded. "I understand, Mother, and I am not alone. Kaelin and the humans, they have shown me that courage can come from unexpected places. Together, we will prevail." Lysara smiled, a rare warmth in her eyes. "Then let us show the galaxy the power of Xylaris, not just in strength, but in unity, courage, and hope." The sun set over the crystalline city, casting long shadows as the first wave of enemy ships entered Xylar space. The battle was about to begin in earnest, and the fate of Xylaris hung in the balance. But the bond between humans and Xylars, between mother and daughter, burned brighter than any weapon. Together, they would face the storm. Together, they would fight. Together, they would prevail. The skies above Xylaris were filled with streaks of light as the alien abductors' fleet advanced. The narrow corridor of space, designed by Commander Kaelin and guided by Princess Elira's insight, became the battlefield. The twin suns had set, leaving the crystalline city below glowing under moonlight and bioluminescent gardens. Every light, every reflection seemed to shimmer with the anticipation of what was about to come. On board the lead human ship, Kaelin stood at the command console, his gaze sharp and focused. The fleet moved with precision, human and Xylar forces synchronized perfectly. Every Xylar psychic pulse was matched with human tactical strikes, creating a web of energy and light that disrupted the enemy's systems. Elira's psychic energy flowed through the network, connecting ships and coordinating movements. Though weakened from her captivity, her spirit and focus were unmatched. She guided the Xylars and humans alike, blending insight, courage, and strategy into every decision. Lysara watched from the palace, sending psychic reinforcements to shield the planet. Her heart, once heavy with sorrow, now surged with determination. Her daughter had returned, and together with the humans, they would defend their world. The first clash came swiftly. Alien ships fired energy beams, hoping to break the formation. Human ships countered with precision, deflecting attacks and disabling engines. Xylar psychic shields pulsed outward, distorting enemy sensors and creating confusion in their ranks. Elira observed patterns in the enemy formation. "Their command ship is behind the second wave," she called. "If we take it down, their fleet will collapse." Kaelin nodded. "Then that will be our target. Human strike team, prepare for boarding. Princess Elira, you will guide us using psychic synchronization." Elira's violet eyes glimmered. "I am ready. Let us show them the strength of unity." The boarding team, human warriors equipped with advanced armor, launched from their ship toward the enemy mothership. Xylar psychic shields protected them, bending enemy attacks away like invisible walls. Kaelin led the strike personally, moving with confidence and careful precision. Inside the enemy mothership, alarms blared as systems faltered. The alien crew struggled to maintain order, their confidence shaken by the unexpected coordination of humans and Xylars. Elira's psychic pulse guided Kalen and his team, helping them navigate the corridors and avoid traps. "Left," she whispered telepathically. "There! Disable that control panel, quick!" Kalen and his team moved with lightning speed, shutting down communication arrays and disabling energy barriers. Every action, every step, was synchronized perfectly with the psychic guidance from Elira. The alien crew could not respond fast enough. Back in space, the main fleet fought with equal intensity. Xylar psychic waves deflected enemy fire, while human ships executed coordinated strikes. The abductors, once confident in their strength, began to falter. Their formation broke apart, and panic spread among their ranks. Lysara directed her own psychic forces, creating protective shields over the planet and amplifying Elira's energy. "Hold the line!" she called mentally to every soldier and citizen involved in defense. "Our courage is stronger than their fear." On board the mothership, Kalen reached the control center. The alien commander glared at him, eyes filled with rage and disbelief. "You think you can stop us?" the alien demanded. Kalen's response was calm but firm. "We protect what is ours. You underestimated courage, loyalty, and hope. That is your mistake." Elira's psychic energy surged through the ship, disorienting the enemy and disabling their defenses. The alien commander staggered, struggling to maintain control. In one decisive move, Kalen and his team disabled the command core, causing a chain reaction that rendered the fleet directionless. Outside, the remaining enemy ships tried to retreat, but human interceptors and Xylar psychic waves blocked every escape. The combined forces were unstoppable. Energy beams and psychic pulses illuminated the stars as the alien fleet surrendered or fled. Elira, exhausted but radiant, transmitted a final psychic pulse across the battlefield, confirming the victory. Xylaris was safe, its people and cities unharmed. The power of unity, strategy, and courage had triumphed over cruelty and fear. After the battle, the palace erupted in celebration. Citizens cheered for the queen, the princess, and the humans who had fought alongside them. The streets glowed with light and joy, a stark contrast to the years of mourning that had once gripped the city. Lysara embraced her daughter tightly. "You have done more than return," she said softly. "You have reminded all of Xylaris of the strength we carry in our hearts." Elira smiled faintly. "I only did what was necessary. Kalen and the humans showed me that courage exists in many forms. Together we can protect what we love." Kalen, standing humbly nearby, nodded. "It is the courage of every individual, human and Xylar alike, that won this day. That is the true power of unity." Lysara turned to the humans. "Your bravery has saved not just my daughter, but our entire civilization. Xylaris will never forget this. You have proven that humanity is a force of honor, courage, and hope." Kalen inclined his head. "We did what was right. That is all any of us can do." In the days following the battle, humans and Xylars worked together to rebuild and strengthen defenses. Elira trained with Kalen, learning strategies that combined psychic insight and human ingenuity. She became a symbol of hope, courage, and the unbreakable bond between species. The queen addressed her people in the grand hall, her voice strong and filled with pride. "Today, we celebrate not only the return of my daughter, but the courage of all who stood for our home. Xylaris has survived because of bravery, unity, and the wisdom to trust those who fight alongside us. Let this victory remind us that hope is never lost, and courage can come from even the most unexpected places." Citizens cheered, their hearts light for the first time in years. Children ran through the gardens, laughing freely, while soldiers and humans alike shared stories of the battle. Xylaris was alive, thriving, and united. Elira stood beside her mother and Kaelin, watching the celebration. Her violet eyes sparkled with determination. "We will not stop here," she said softly. "The galaxy is vast, and threats will come again. But now we know that when humans and Xylars stand together, there is nothing we cannot overcome." Kaelin placed a hand on her shoulder. "And we will be ready. Courage, strategy, and hope. Those are the tools that will guide us. Together, we are stronger than anything the universe can throw at us." Lysara smiled, proud beyond words. "Then let us continue, not just as rulers and warriors, but as guardians of the future. Our people, our planet, and our bonds will shine across the stars." As the twin moons rose over Xylaris, their light reflecting on the crystalline towers, the queen, her daughter, and the human warrior stood together. They had faced fear, cruelty, and darkness, and emerged victorious. The galaxy had witnessed the power of courage, loyalty, and unity, and for the first time in many years, Xylaris knew that hope was not only alive, it would guide them into the stars.